Hello, hello, hello. This is Dr. Camp signing on. I'm actually doing my steps while I'm doing this video. So I get my minimum steps in of 10,000 a day. So I am doing my steps. But while I was doing my step, I was thinking about something Elizabeth Elliot said. She said something that was interesting about how we learn. She said the context in which we learn are given by the lessons of God. The context in which we learn are given by the lessons of God. So in other words, my interpretation of what she said and meant is that we are learning the experiences that we go through. We're learning from them. But the experiences that we go through weren't chosen by us, but they were chosen by God so that we can learn. So when you're like, why am I going through this? These lessons, the experiences, are coming from God to help us learn a lesson. So I thought about that. So one of the things I said was, it may be true for us in my socialization because I remember always being upset with a supervisor. And I was like, oh my gosh, the supervisor is working my last nerve. I'm getting another job. So I went and got another job. They hired me. I get on that job for a little while. A year later, we get a new supervisor. Lo and behold, it's one like my old supervisor. What? So I said, well, you know what? I'm getting out of here. I left that job. Went and got another job. Get on that job. I wound up having 3 supervisors. And guess what? One of them was like the other one. The 2 jobs I fled, well, this supervisor was just like them. So at this point, I'm thinking, I left job A to get a better supervisor, went to job B, got the same supervisor. Left job B, went to job C to get a better supervisor, got to job C, and eventually got the same supervisor again. So this is a lesson for me. No matter what I do, I'm going to keep running into the same supervisor. So I decided, all right, Lord, what's the lesson? What's the lesson I should be learning? I learned a whole lot of things in that lesson. My point is, our lessons come from God. Believe it or not, even in your mistakes, they're still orchestrated by the hand of God. So I'm going to leave you with this today, that do not be upset about any lessons that you're going through, because they have been handpicked and tailor-made by God Himself so that we can learn something. The Bible says a righteous man falleth 7 times, but then he arises again. Because He has made us so resilient to fall and bounce back up, fall and bounce back up, fall and bounce back up, it's taken some of us longer to learn the lesson. Because God designed us to get right back up. And we're thinking, I'm just going to keep fighting this thing. But in most situations, it's about fighting yourself. Learning what is the lesson here that God is trying to teach me. Especially look for the pattern. Is this something that you see all the time? I'm doing my steps. So whoever just joining, I'm doing my steps. Trying to get my steps in. So while I'm doing this. So be mindful that the lessons that we are going through are tailor-made, handpicked, developed by God so that we can learn something in that situation. I'm going to give you another scenario. I learned how to live in someone's house, in my mother's house. I moved out of my house 3 times and moved back in with my mom. The 3rd time when we moved in, I had to stop and say, wait, a cotton picking minute. Why are we coming back here again? I'm not coming back. I sat back and I relaxed. And I can begin to pay attention What am I supposed to be learning? I learned how to live in her house. See, the first time I went there, I was like, this need to change, that need to change, and why you doing this, and why you doing that? Who's that? Why are they here? How come they not? I had all that. When I came back the second time, I was more like, I'm just gonna mind my own business. I ain't got time. Yeah, that's how I went in. The third time I went in, I was like, Mom, you need help? What you need help with? She liked drinking coffee. I got her coffee. I got her everything that went with the coffee. She loved Pepsi. I got her cases of Pepsi. I would go in the kitchen. I wash all the dishes. No matter who put them in me, I washed the dishes. I cooked every night. I cleaned. I made sure my mom was okay. And when her company came over, I mind my business. I said, hello. I would sit down and chat for a while and go to my room. So I was no longer rude. I was no longer bossy. But I was in a place where I understood it's not my house. When I moved out my mom's house, she begged me to stay. She begged me because I became an asset and I learned how to live in her house. Now, whatever mistakes we made a lot of mistakes. But they brought me to my mom's house 3 times. We were moving so much that at some point I decided, hey, wait a minute. I can't even use my regular address. I got to use this address because I don't know if I'm going to move again. So I kept using my mom's address because I'm like, who knows? If you're looking for me, I'm somewhere else now. I moved like 4 times. I was mad about the house. I was mad about the neighborhood. I was mad about the neighbors. I was always mad about something. And then I finally learned how to live in someone's house, how to live in a community, how to get along with your neighbors. I learned a lot. I stopped moving in my houses. I stopped running from house to house. I stopped running from job to job, and I started staying and learning. And God has developed me into a great leader. He developed me into a great woman of God, a great mother, a great wife. And now I know how to give back. I know how to stay and remain wherever I go. So the context of our lessons are developed and shaped and orchestrated by God. So stop beating yourself up and say, oh, I'm in this again. Start looking for the lesson. Stop blaming yourself. Look for the lesson. Learn the lesson and do something different. Trust me, that pattern will stop. Or you will be able to survive and thrive in the midst of your problems. I hope that was encouraging. I gotta get back to my steps, so I stopped doing them. I gotta get back to them, but be blessed, and I hope this encouraged you. Like and share this video. God bless you. Dr. Camp, signing off.